Hey everyone, this is Elenbaas from Nightlight Astrology. Today we are going to take a look at Mercury retrograde in the sign of Sagittarius, making an opposition to Jupiter in the sign of Gemini. This is, of course, a form of mutual reception by detriment and through an opposition. So a really interesting signature. We've looked at this before when Mercury was direct. It made this opposition, and now it is making it again through its retrograde. So time to refresh on this. And I've got 5 things for you to watch for. So we'll break this archetypal combination and exchange down today and see what kind of agreement these two planets might be making with each other, despite the very interesting form of reception that they have. So I think this will be a good one, because this is one of the major aspects of the month, especially given that it's so closely connected to the Jupiter-Saturn square that's forming. So anyway, that's our goal for today. Before we get into it, remember to like and subscribe. Really helps the channel to grow when you click on the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and you can always open up the notifications if you want to know when we have new videos that are coming out. You can find transcripts of any of these daily talks on the website, which is nightlightastrology.com. When you go over there, you will find the tab taking you also to the 2025 Kickstarter campaign for the last 40 days-ish of the year. We are seeking the support of backers to support our channel in the year ahead. Our goal this year is 1,937 backers. That's, of course, just one better than we did last year. Our goal is always to just grow the support for the channel a little bit more each year. We're off to a great start thanks to so many people who have already pledged. But if you haven't yet, we would really appreciate if you watch this channel and value the content. Consider pitching in, donating to support us and all of the need-based tuition we provide, the donation-based reading clinic, so many things we do to try to make sure that astrology is accessible and affordable, including, of course, this free content year-round. At the end of today's video, you will find an explanation of all of the rewards we offer when you donate. There are a ton of really good rewards that we have kind of used this as a sort of sale for a lot of our programs. You'll find that our programs are 50% off, up to 75% off when you bundle the programs together. So you'll find those rewards in the Kickstarter as well. A bunch of exclusive videos and content, your horoscope for the year ahead, the Astrology of 2025 talk that I give, lots of good stuff. My new book in audiobook form coming out chapter by chapter, tons of previous master classes. So lots of good stuff. I'll tell you more about it at the end of today's video. You can hear all about it in depth. But a big thanks to everyone who has supported us so far. And if you haven't yet, please do consider pitching in. You can find the link in the comments section of this video, in the description of this video, and also on the website, nightlightastrology.com. Every day during Kickstarter season, you guys know I like to say a little something about what I think makes the channel valuable. So I've been talking a lot about what I sort of bake into the content. I want to tell you something today that I am very sure to avoid putting into the content. There are some things that, as a content creator, that I'm very conscious of making sure goes into the content. I've told you a little bit about those, talked about, multivalent storytelling, research, devotion. One thing that I try to avoid at all costs is sensationalism. By that, I mean, you're not going to see me on this channel spending too much time hyping up every single transit as extraordinarily transformational. And, I really try to avoid sensationalism, fear, anything anxiety provoking in the way that I discuss the transits. We try to find hopeful ways of talking about them. And I try to avoid astrological sensationalism, even though the SEO engines tell me, oh yeah, well, you should use this title. For example, we're looking at Mercury retrograde opposing Jupiter. The SEO, title selection for the day was something like, this is what you should type in: Mercury opposing Jupiter, unlock the secrets of your destiny, right? Something like that. And I for the most part, we really do try. I mean, sometimes we come up with kind of provocative titles, but for the most part, it is a big part of my mission as an astrologer to make sure that we avoid astrological sensationalism just to drive up numbers in both the way that we advertise and promote and actually deliver the content. So if you value that, if that's something that is a part of what you like about this channel, please consider supporting us. We'd really appreciate that support. Okay, well, on that note, let's take a look at the real-time clock and at our transit of the day, which is Mercury's opposition to Jupiter. All right, so here it is. We can see here that the direct motion, I thought I'd bring this up first. Mercury in its direct motion opposed Jupiter between Sunday, November 17th, and Monday, November 18th. So that was a little bit ago. we're coming around to this again through retrogradation. And here we can see at the middle of the week, we have today is Wednesday, December 4th. Whoops, let me shift my little view here. And here you can see that this is 9 a.m., right? So we could have done yesterday into today, and see that the opposition is very much in the air right now. We're going to be looking at Mercury's cazimi tomorrow. So this is very much a part of the astrology of the week for the rest of this week, because the sun will also oppose Jupiter right after the Mercury cazimi. So an interconnected series of events that really highlight the Mercury-Jupiter opposition throughout the entire week. So this opposition is interesting because Mercury is now coming back to the opposition. It's like, hey, let's revisit that moment that we just had earlier. This is, of course, a part of the ongoing perfection of the Jupiter-Saturn square that's taking place this month of December as well. So lots going on with this one. Mercury's in Jupiter's sign, which means it's in its exile, a natural opposite to Jupiter is Mercury. And Jupiter's in Mercury's sign, a natural opposite to its own home sign, which puts them both in what we call their exile. That doesn't mean anything bad. We're not judging the planets. The planets are all divine and all their placements are divine. But they do have tense and more relaxed relationships with one another. Mercury and Jupiter are considered a kind of opposite. So just like in the tango, there's a kind of push and pull between the masculine and feminine in that dance form. All kinds of opposites exist in astrology, and Mercury and Jupiter have been thought of as opposites for thousands of years. And so Mercury's opposition to Jupiter while in Jupiter's sign, and Jupiter's opposition Mercury while in Mercury's sign, creates a very interesting conversation, because we're basically amplifying the natural tension between Mercury and Jupiter, but we're also suggesting that they have the power to work together by virtue of being in each other's signs. That's called mutual reception. Mutual reception by detriment and through an opposition would be something like enemies who are being forced to work together on something that they dislike more than each other. I've used that kind of example a few times, but another way of looking at it would be that people who have some kind of oppositional tension are able to work together and seek some kind of compromise. There might be some reluctance in moving toward resolution or agreement because of the oppositional tension here, but nonetheless, there is some willingness to work together that is really remarkable about this transit and suggests some kind of revision of our thoughts and of our paradigm that is taking place, that there is some new way of thinking or understanding or perceiving that could involve compromise, and that is part of a larger paradigmatic change that the compromise is somehow inciting or enacting or kind of pushing along, is suggested by the fact that Jupiter, coming off from this, is going right into the square with Saturn. Mercury will station and then engage with the same thing all over again as Jupiter squares Saturn. So I want to talk today, given this very interesting dynamic, when we've already visited this, but I have some new ways of spinning the jewel, right? That's always the goal. So 5 things to watch for. Number 1, something bad is actually something good. I didn't know how else to put this, because most of us probably don't go around going, this is good and this is bad. Like, I think probably people listening to this channel, you're very nuanced, thoughtful. You don't think too much in terms of black and white and so forth. But there is also just a subjective kind of consensus reality in which we say this feels good, this feels bad, that looks good, that looks bad. So when you have 2 planets opposing one another in mutual reception by exile, one of the things that comes to my mind is that something that on the surface initially looked bad or difficult is now being recognized as potentially beneficial. And that feels like a way of symbolically encapsulating the exchange of dignity that's at play. So I think a really hopeful and interesting way of looking at this right now that you may notice in your life. And remember, I take some of these from my own life and things that are happening to me within or in different facets of my life where I see the transits at work. So some of this is my own self-reflection, I'll admit that. But it may be applicable to other people, because I found often that when I really notice a manifestation that I'm like, wow, that's an interesting one, I haven't seen that before, that a lot of other people there'll be enough people out there that will be experiencing that as one of the possibilities for manifestation, sort of on the list of on the archetypal spectrum or whatever. Anyway, so something bad is actually something good could mean that something first looks like a problem, but is actually a unique opportunity, or something that at first looks like, ooh, I don't like that. You go, well, maybe I'm open to it. Something like that seems to be taking place. And that could be taking place in a very specific part of your life. I'm reflecting on this. I'll just be open with respect to basically like a different structure to my weight training program. And at first I was like, I don't know if I like this compared to my last one. But then progressively, as I've been getting into it, and that was what was happening, I was kind of installing that new program under Mercury opposite Jupiter. And now I'm going, oh, maybe I do like this. Maybe something that I was closed down to is turning out to be something better than I thought it was. And that shift in understanding within a specific little paradigm is very small. It's not like a big, huge, significant deal, but you may notice something like that. That's something that you were closed down to, you may be open to. I will just say this. I have heard a lot of people saying, with respect to some of the things happening in the larger world right now, that whereas there's, like, for example, a lot of people have very strong feelings about how the election went. Afterward, people may say, you know what, I'm going to refrain from falling into doomsday thinking or doomsday scenario if you didn't like the result. I have noticed a lot of people, students, friends, people around me, and I'm a little bit more stoic about these things, but people around me saying something like, you know what, I'm just not going to flip out. I'm not going to freak out. I'm not going to judge on the surface what's happening. I'm just going to wait and see. Even that attitude of like, and that doesn't have to be politically speaking. I'm just saying I've observed that happening in the weeks after the election to a number of people. Like it's a response I've seen over and over again. And I'm like, that's interesting. That feels like Mercury opposite Jupiter with the mutual reception by detriment and opposition. It's like, I don't like this, but I guess I'll just stay open. And at least I'm not going to devolve into like a hopelessness. And even that is a kind of exchange between Mercury and Jupiter. Like, well, I'm looking at this and I'm going, I don't know if I like this, but I'm going to remain open to what it could be that I can't yet see, or a purpose that it serves that I don't yet understand, or something like that. I think that we do that in a lot of areas of life when something doesn't go the way that we want it to, or we're looking at something and initially having an adverse reaction to it. My little workout program. I don't know about this. Okay, well, you know what? I don't know. I'm just going to stay open and see what happens. Even that is very much like the something bad is actually something good, or I'm going to just not judge this as good or bad and remain open to what it could be that I don't understand because I'm not the architect of the universe, just that attitude. So anyway, number 2 would be over talking. I think this is like one of my favorite things. So the other night, as the first direct pass was happening, of course I track these things. I can't help but just notice how they manifest. Ashley and I were talking, and I would say like 90% of the time, my Mars in Gemini, over the years of being married to my beautiful wife who has Mercury in Aries, there's been like we're both just chatterboxes. She has a YouTube channel. I have YouTube. We've both been teachers our whole adult careers. So we both just love to gab and talk with each other. And usually because of that Mercury in Aries and Mars in Gemini in my chart, there's a very like just fast, easy back and forth. And I've learned over the years also how to, just really make sure that I'm drawing people out when I'm talking with them. I think doing counseling work has really helped me with that, so that, it's like, I'm always conscious of the fact, it's like, oh, have I been talking too much? Let me stop talking and ask the person that I'm with some questions, draw them out. Like if you're hanging out with friends, most of us are really conscious of that. It's like we all have a little dimmer switch and we're like, I'm turning things up bright to tell a story or to share something or share my thoughts. And then after a while, you kind of become self-aware of the fact that you've been bright and loud and center. And so you kind of turn your dimmer down and make sure that other dimmer lights go up in the group that you're with. We all have that kind of sensitivity and aware. I think most of us do. But you know what it's like? You know what it's like when you're with someone or you're with a group of people and someone does not have an awareness that their dimmer switch is like all the way up and they don't have the capacity to turn it down. and by the end, you're just drained, you're just exhausted. You're like, I mean, come on, man, turn your dimmer switch down. This is a transit that can very easily result in the dimmer switch not being turned down. So this is the funny story. So Ashley and I, under the first direct passage, I caught myself like going off on a complete rant about something in the like larger field of astrology. Some things that I was talking about that kind of drive me nuts about just a very certain element of pop astrology that kind of drives me nuts. And all of a sudden I realized like Ashley was starting to glaze over, and I'm like, oh shit, I've been ranting for like 5 straight minutes. I need to so I just paused and I was like, I'm sorry. How are you? and she started laughing, it's like, and I thought it was so funny that Mercury was opposite Jupiter, and then I find occasions like that, by the way, to be really good. Like if I catch myself really ranting about something, usually that's a sign for me that I need to sit with that thing that I'm feeling really bothered by, and it's kind of like your soapbox. Like, what are your soapboxes? Mercury, Jupiter could really put you on your soapbox. So make sure that we're aware of the fact that we're on the soapbox. We're aware of our dimmer switch, and also, that if you get swept up in some kind of soapbox, let your soapbox be a place that you can maybe, get into a little humility. It's like if you really get swept up in philosophizing or big ideas or whatever, and you get caught and you realize, oh gosh, I'm really going off here. Sit with it. Let it shift you somehow, because often what I've found over the years, for example, I'm notorious for getting on some soapboxes in certain facets of my programs because there's things I get really passionate about. And over the years, those positions have gradually, it's like water wearing down rocks. I get softer, my edges kind of wear down a little bit, because every time I catch myself going off on a soapbox about some particular thing that I'm, in the curriculum or whatever, I'll kind of go, yeah, there's a way of expressing that is going to be more mature and like gentle, and like you're too irritated, and so I need to make peace with it. But what that does is it often creates more generosity, compassion, sensitivity in my heart when I reflect on the moments where I've got caught up so much that I've become a little zealous. Over the years, my charisma, it's like there's a fine line with those of us who are charismatic, about if that's just a natural part of your temperament, between charisma and like zealousness. And this is a transit that can really help us clarify some of those distinctions and try to soften them so that we're always in the realm of devotion and passion, but not zealousness and, kind of teetering into fanaticism, which again is something that people who have like a lot of air and fire around Mercury or Jupiter in their charts might naturally have to deal with. So anyway, just a kind of fun thing to think about. Maybe you'll notice this. Maybe you'll notice it in someone else as well. And remember that sometimes that transit is also like indicative of people who have bottled things up and now they just need to vent, so like venting would be a little natural. So we can give some space for people to maybe just need to talk it out. Anyway, the next one on my list is opening ourselves to the opposite. Here's the thing is that with these two planets, and we talked about this maybe a month ago now, I was talking about Jupiter and Gemini and how two things can be true. And one great way to practice the art of Gemini is when we have a strong idea or a strong claim, not necessarily to make ourselves believe the opposite or something like that, but to simply sit with and consider whatever a natural opposite might be. So I find that is an exercise, even if I don't necessarily shift the perspective I have or the conviction I hold or the belief. Still, opening myself up to consider an oppositional perspective is often really helpful, because at the very least, it can help me to soften and create more room for like grace and flexibility, especially with other people. Because if you consider the opposite, a lot of the times what you're doing is considering how someone else may feel. Great transit for that kind of work. Number 4 would be a reluctant agreement. These two planets, they're in each other's signs. They have to work together, but they're opposed. Could there be some way in which two things that don't really look like they should go together are reluctantly agreeing to come together on something? A reluctant convergence of resources, ideas, thoughts, philosophy, a reluctant form of resolution, mediation, agreement. I think we could look for something like that. And I think that might be one of the most unique things that this opposition offers. And number 5, a moment contributing to paradigmatic change. Remember, this opposition and everything it brings up is contributing to the slow ongoing development of Jupiter and Saturn meeting in the sky, which suggests those deep, deep structural changes that are in the midst of changing right now for us. So a moment contributing to paradigmatic change. Consider. All right, we'll leave it here for today. I hope you guys are having a great day today and having fun with some of these transits. We will be looking at the Mercury Cazimi. We'll be looking at Venus opposite Pluto and the upcoming Venus-Mars opposition. Lots of big stuff to cover the rest of the week. Remember, if you haven't yet pitched in, our backer goal is 1,937 backers by January 1st. We're well on our way. Really appreciate everyone who's supported the channel so far. After I sign off, you can learn more about the rewards and click on the Kickstarter link to contribute through the comment section, description of this video, or on the website, nightlightastrology.com. We will see you again tomorrow. Bye. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking around. I'm going to tell you about the different rewards that we offer when you donate and support our channel in the year ahead. So you'll find a link to the Kickstarter in the description of this video, in the comments section of this video, as well as on our website, nightlightastrology.com. If you head over there, you'll see at the top of the page there is a menu item that says Kickstarter 2025. You can click on that and be taken over to the Kickstarter campaign page. So once you're there, if you scroll down on the right-hand side, you're going to see different pledge levels and different gifts and sales that we run as a way of saying thank you for your support. So among those, our most popular offering by far are the major discounts that we offer on our training programs. So if you are interested in studying astrology at Nightlight in 2025, whether you're a brand new student or a currently enrolled student who's thinking of taking one of our year 2, 3 horary programs, you're going to find that these are the best rates that we run on the entire year. And we do this as a way of both saying thank you and also of helping us raise funds to support the channel, our staff, and everything we do. So you'll see attend one Nightlight course there. That's about 50% off the total cost of the program and about $500 off the early bird rate. And then you'll scroll down and you'll see that if you bundle 2 courses together, the savings go way up. Bundle 3, they go up even more. I mean, the difference between the 2 and 3 class package is $200. So $200 more, you get 3 of our year-long programs. And if you get all the way to the 4 class pass, then you have all 4 years of our program. You can take them at any pace you like, renew them whenever you like. There's no timeline on when you use these class passes. And you will have all 4 years of content at about 75% off each of the programs individually when you get that bundle. So those are our best savings for sure. Highly recommend those. If you have any questions about our courses or programs, email us info@nightlightastrology.com or look at the website under the courses page. You'll find information about each of the individual courses we offer. And then if you scroll up, you're going to find some of our other programs that are greatly discounted. Ashley's Herbal Foundations apprenticeship course, which many people are interested in who come through our Moon Circle that Ashley and I lead each month. You scroll up, you're going to find our masterclass series for 2025, greatly discounted, as well as our Roots and Spheres Moon Circle, greatly discounted. There's hundreds of dollars of savings in each of those. So we really try to make sure that the Kickstarter acts as a good flash sale for all of our programs. You'll then find some really nice prices on previous archive talks, like our 2024 archive masterclass bundle, which is about 30 hours worth of content on specialized topics in astrology. You can see the topics listed in each of the bundles as you scroll through. 2023's masterclass bundle, huge savings on those and a lot of really great content. You'll see a few reading options as you continue to go from the bottom to the top. You'll see the 2025 year ahead mini reading. There's only 30 of these. These are individualized birth chart readings that I do, looking at the most significant transit in your birth chart for 2025. I record those personally. You'll then see that there is an Ask 3 Horary Questions option where you can get 3 horary questions to redeem whenever you'd like within the year ahead. Those are kind of yes, no predictive questions. Will I get the job? Will we get together? Things like that. Then you'll see the Astrology for Complete Beginners course is also discounted through the Kickstarter. This is a great 10 hours worth of content for people who are brand new to astrology. So whether that's you or maybe a gift for somebody else. And then you're going to see some individual master classes that are greatly discounted from the past year. So all of 2024's masterclass series are the archives of which 8 to 10 hours each are on sale. And then scroll up a little bit more and you'll see one of our most popular offerings, which are the year ahead horoscope readings. These year ahead horoscope readings include 30 to 45 minutes of a breakdown of all the major transits of the year ahead for each sun and rising signs. You get all of them with this package, which is a great deal. It's like 10 hours worth of content, 8, 9, 10 hours, somewhere in there. I haven't finished recording all of them yet. So as of the time I'm recording this, I'm anticipating it'll land around 10 hours. But yeah, anyway, so you scroll up. You'll see those horoscope videos will all be delivered to you right around January 1st when the Kickstarter ends. Scroll up a little bit more, you'll find The Oracle Speaks, which is my book, and this is being released chapter by chapter. It is a book about the inner experience of learning to speak with oracles, and it is being released chapter by chapter in both text and audiobook form, so you can listen along to my new book. And that takes us up to the Astrology of 2025 video. This, for your donation at the $50 level, gives you an exclusive talk breaking down all of the major astrological transits of 2025. I look in depth at some of the biggest things happening in the year ahead and break them down in advance. And that's the only place I release that video or that take on the whole year ahead. Finally, at the very top, the most basic level of donation, you'll see the Astrology of 2025 calendar. This is a PDF calendar we design and make that allows you to track and move along with the astrology as the year unfolds. This is also great if you want to track what we're going to be talking about week by week on my channel. You'll get a glimpse at the biggest transits of each day and month and week. And that will give you some sense of where we're heading with our coverage of the astrology on the channel as the year unfolds. So again, any questions about any of the rewards that you see, email us info@nightlightastrology. Link is in the description, comments, or on the website, nightlightastrology.com. Help us get to 1,937 backers by January 1st. We deeply appreciate your contribution. We try to make sure we have some really special rewards to say thank you when you contribute. All right, take it easy. Bye.